Here are the ingredients I'll be using for this party jollof. Here is my rice. Here is my meat stock, my meat water. In here I have my tomatoes and peppers, shombo, tatashi, like green pepper, all of that. On this tray I have onions, I have seasoning, spices, to be precise, different type of spices. This is kitchen glory. I have Benny, I have Maggie. Okay, here is green peas and liver beans. So this peas is very strong. I'm going to be using hot water to soften it a little bit. I have my bay leaf here. I have my dukrous thyme and dukrous curry. It's very important. Here I have my super tasty novena. I used to use Mivina, but I heard Mivina is not in market again. So here is Benny. These are very good spices. They are very good spices to use. Okay. Here I have my Gino sachet tomatoes that I'll be using to thicken the fresh tomatoes. So my fire is ready. I'm going to put on the pot on fire, then pour my groundnut oil. This groundnut oil is the one I use in frying meat. Okay, you might be wondering where my meat is. My meat is sitting pretty in the microwave, so I kept them in the freezer because I had to pre-cook them overnight. So I kept them in the freezer to avoid spoiling. Okay, now I am microwaving the meat, but don't to worry, I will show you guys the meat. So here I added a little groundnut oil because this one I poured won't be enough for me to fry the stew, to fry the pepper and all of that. So my groundnut oil is hot. I'm going to be pouring my sliced onion. Okay, so at this point I was thinking if I should pour all the onion, but later I poured it all because there is no excess onion in your stew. Okay, there is no quantity that you add to the stew that is excess. Okay, and onion is very good for the body also. So I had to fry this onion for some time, allow it to dry a little bit. And yeah, while the onion is frying, I was getting my sachet tomato ready to be poured inside the oil. Okay, here I have my sachet tomato. I used 5 sachet tomato, so I poured it inside the fried onion. So the reason why we're adding this sachet tomato is to thicken the fresh tomato and to give it that desired color. Okay, so there is no party jollof without sachet tomato. You can decide to use tin tomatoes, any of your choice. There are different tomato that are very good in the market. Okay, but I always use Gino tomato or Derica. Okay, I use Gino tomatoes, Gino sachet tomato or tin tomatoes or Derica because I trust them. Okay, I have not tried any other one. So at this point I had to pour my fresh tomato. Remember I told you guys this fresh tomato consists of pepper. I used fresh tomato. This is fresh tomato, pepper, shombo, tatashi. I also added green pepper. You know that green pepper they use in making fried rice. Yes, I love the taste in my food. Not only jollof rice, I use it in making all kinds of food because I love the taste. If you use green pepper to make any of your food, let me know in the comment section. The day I discovered about this green pepper. Like, I can't do without using it or adding it to my food whenever I cook. So after pouring the tomato, I had to stir. At this point, this is where the work of cooking party jollof starts. Okay, why I said this is where the work is because you have to stand by close to this pot to keep turning, because this is the moment the stew start frying. Okay. If you move out of this place, this stew is going to burn. Okay, and you wouldn't want that to happen. You want to have a good taste at the end of your cooking. Okay, so like I said, you had to keep turning, keep turning, keep turning until this pepper or tomatoes until these tomatoes is well fried. Okay, I fried this for 25 minutes to 30 minutes or thereabout, because I wanted this to dry very well. And when your tomato dries very well, that's when the taste of the party jollof is going to come out. Okay, a quick one: while frying your tomatoes, make sure you use a longer spoon or a wooden spoon that is very long to avoid the oil splashing on your body. Even though I used a longer spatula here, wooden spoon here, I still had some splashes on my body. That is to tell you that it's not easy to cook in the kitchen. So I added my salt, I added my Maggi. Here I was counting the Maggi to make sure that I am not using excess. Okay, this jollof rice I'm cooking is for 20 to 30 people or thereabouts. Okay, if you share them well, if you know how to share food well. As for me, I don't even know how to share. I can cook, but I don't know how to share food equal. I might give you I don't really know how to share food. So after adding my Maggi and salt, I had to stir, and I keep stirring to avoid burning under. Okay, because if this stew burn under, you have to, at the end of the day, you have to pour this stew into a new pot and continue cooking your rice. So at this point, I had to add my meat stock, but I was doing it gently, little by little, because I don't want my stew to be watery. Okay, I want that thick stew. So I noticed that the water I added at first was not enough. I had to add the remaining one. Here I added my dukrust thyme, sorry. So this is thyme. I added my thyme, and for you to notice, or for you to know if your tomatoes is well fried, the oil you use in frying is going to float on top of the tomatoes. Okay, like it is here. After adding my thyme, I added my curry. Okay, you can see me, I added my curry, and I stirred. Guys, at this point, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel, like my video, drop a comment. Okay, thank you for doing that. So I added my spices here. So these spices will bring out the taste of that party jollof. Here I added my Benny. This is the remaining one I use in boiling meat. So I added my Benny spices for chicken and for cooking jollof rice. Here is my kitchen glory. I added my kitchen glory as well. So yeah, after adding your ingredients, your spices, you have to stir very well and still keep frying, because you have to fry this very well, like I told you before, for that taste to come out. Here I have my ginger and garlic mix. Okay, I can't cook without my ginger and garlic. Okay, this is my fresh ginger and garlic. I had to grate them and pour them inside the stew. Then I stirred I continue stirring to avoid burning. Guys, let's give this video some thumbs up so that YouTube will get to recommend this video to people that need it. Okay, let's get this video to 1,000 likes. I'm not asking for too much, okay? It can be more than that. So at this point I had to bring my stew down because I can't use all this stew. Okay, I used that opportunity to fry the stew we'll be needing, and I prepared this food on a Christmas day. You know, Christmas day you have to cook a yummy meal for your family. So I had to divide this stew because it's too much for the jollof rice. It's very much for the jollof rice. I can't use this stew for this jollof rice. It's plenty. Oh wow. So as you can see me, I had to bring the pot down and I started using a bowl to scoop the excess tomato because I want to use the bigger pot. I had to scoop to the other pot, and I was stirring to see if the stew is too much for my jollof, and yes, of course it's too much for the jollof because it's going to be red, like very red and too sweet, okay, and you wouldn't want that too. So at this point I had to reduce the oil because I don't want a jollof rice with plenty oil inside. So you can see this particular stew is enough for me, like the one in the bigger pot is enough for me. So this point is where we get to add our rice. Okay, this is 10 cups of rice. Yeah, 10 cups of rice, and which will be enough for 20 to 30 people, like I told you earlier. So you know, Christmas day people will be coming to your house and you can't just be looking at them like that. You have to give them something to eat. So after pouring the rice, I had to stir to incorporate together, to mix them together, to make sure that no side is left out, okay? No part of the rice is white. I had to make sure that the stew get to touch every part of the rice. So at this point I added more stew because I want my rice to be red, and I added water too because I still need to cook the rice very well. So I added my green peas and liver beans. So these beans, like I told you earlier, is very strong, like it's just like the fresh one, not like the canned peas or hens in tomato beans that we normally use. So this is the fresh one and it's very strong, like very strong. I had to pour it at this point so that it will get to boil with the rice, and by the time the rice is done, the beans and peas would have softened. So here I had to cover this pot with my nylon. Okay, this nylon is mainly for my jollof or fried rice. So the reason why I covered it is for it to heat up. I don't want the heat to escape. You know, I added little water. I want the heat that is coming out of the food, out of the rice as it's covered, to be able to get the rice done, get the rice ready. So at this point the rice is ready. Our party jollof rice is ready. I had to add more stew to make it more red and more presentable. Okay, at this point I had to add stew, stir to mix very well, to make sure that it's very delicious. So I added green pepper, sliced green pepper, and spring onion. Guys, note that for you to get the taste of this party jollof, you had to use either beef meat, turkey, chicken. I use chicken, okay? I use chicken. But when you are cooking your chicken, please make sure you season your chicken very well, because the seasoning, the taste of the chicken will make the taste of the rice.